Welcome in to episode 3 of our Let's Play Civilization 7 series. I'm excited to get into the game and pick up where we left off. Turn 21 of the Antiquity Age. If you need to catch up on all of the action that has happened up until this point, down in the description below, there is a link to episode 1 of the series. You catch up on all the action from the first episode and second episode, including talking about setting up the game, the start, how to evaluate starts into kind of opening turn builds and things like that. At least my thoughts on those things. Of course, as with any 4X strategy game, things are constantly evolving, strategies are changing, and opinions will vary based on your play style and how you like to play the game. So this is my opinions are one possible option. I'll explain to you as I go, like why I think that might be the way to play. But I think the beauty of specifically, the 4X genre in general, but Civilization 7 in particular, there's a lot of different ways to play. A lot of them work really well. And so you kind of adapt to your own strategy and style, which I actually really love about the 4X strategy genre. So without further time spent chatting, let's jump into the game. We take over at turn 21 in the Antiquity Age in our game, Civilization 7. Here we are in our capital city of Axum. It's currently our only city, our only settlement, but we're about to change that. We have 3 turns left on a settler. If you recall, we'll look at our settler lens really quick. We're trying to run up over here. Himiko is up here. We know Himiko High Shaman is up here. We know that her range ends here, so we can still grab some territory. And remember, we're trying to settle adjacent to navigable rivers whenever we possibly can. And the reason for this is we're relatively certain that we want to pick the Songhai in the next age, in the exploration age, and the Songhai get some really nice bonuses for settling next to navigable rivers. So we want to try to get our cities specifically next to these navigable rivers. And there's this tiny little navigable river right here, 1 tile connecting a lake to the ocean. It's a beautiful thing for us. So if we can get a settle in right here, we can snag up some really nice tiles. There's some good resources we can gain access to, and we'll have settled next to a navigable river, which will be optimal for us and something that we want to do. We want to settle here relatively quickly because Himiko is already here. I also don't want to anger Himiko, so this is going to be a risky play. We also have an aggressive independent power over here that we're going to go take out at some point, but you'll notice we don't have any military units up here right now. Our warriors down here kind of doing some exploration would probably need to recall him because he's getting far away and we have no defensive capabilities. And the real reason we probably need to recall him is because I'm about to demonstrate something that I think it's relatively unknown, to be honest, about Civilization 7. And it's a little bit different from previous Civ games, or at least from Civilization 6 as far as I recall. And that is that you can indeed, once you've started constructing something or producing or building something like a settler or a building or whatever you might be producing out of your city, you can actually buy that out for a reduced gold cost. So I did a little bit of testing, and I think that the way the buyout feature works is it only functions on buildings, because buildings that you buy out are placed. They're already down. So if you were to place a building, for example, I believe we already have the altar down. I think we put some turns into it. I can't recall if we did or not. But if you put a building down and it is placed on the ground, it's already there. You can't remove it from your queue. If you do, it just sits there as a building that's ready to be constructed. You can choose to put it back in the queue or not. And at that point, the cost of purchasing that building has gone down by however the amount of production that you have put into that building over the turns that you've spent with it in your build queue. That gold reduction will occur. However, it appears with units, this does not work. You cannot purchase units. Don't work that way. So if you remove a unit from your queue, you actually just burn the turns on that particular unit. So what we're going to do is, because I would like to rush a settle up here. I just want to make sure we get that as quickly as possible because it's going to take us a lot of turns actually to walk over there and get the settle down. There's a little bit of risk and a little bit of greed involved in this play, right? We're going to spend basically all of our gold to get a settler and get them up here to do a settle. Now, we're basically boxing in an aggressive free peoples. This independent power is hostile to us. We're going to box them in and they're going to have no one to attack but me. This could be very problematic because, again, our warrior's a little far away and we don't actually have any other military units. So we may want to start kind of building that up. We get discipline in 4 turns. That will get us our army commander, and that will then allow us to maybe build up a quick little army. And so we might want to think about doing that as we're heading in that direction. We also have to remember 8 turns until masonry. Masonry is going to unlock the pyramids for us, which we're going to take a shot at building. In fact, we want to build before we place down our production buildings, which are going to sit right here. We have to finish the pyramids before we do that. And so we're going to have kind of a long pyramids build, and it's going to kind of put us behind a little bit. So this is a greedy play, but what we're going to do is I'm going to purchase a settler for 160 gold. So we'll purchase the settler. That should change. No, this settler still only costs 3. So the settlers must not ramp up in production for a small amount of time. Or that just hasn't updated yet, which is entirely possible, right? It's entirely possible that has not updated yet. So we now have our settler, but now, okay, there it goes. And now it has updated. So there it is. So we had to click out and click back in. 5 turns now, right? Because as you build more settlers, they increase in price. They scale in that way, right? So now we have 5 turns on the settler. Now we could continue to build this settler, or we could jump over here and grab a slinger and or put some turns into a saw pit or an altar. Remember, our altar would get us that increased, that pantheon we chose, that increased growth bonus, which we actually really want. The saw pit gets us +3 production. Again, we're currently at 11, so 3 is actually a pretty substantial number on production for our saw pit, so that would be nice. I do think that for safety's sake, I think we're going to go slinger first. So we'll go ahead and queue up the slinger. We'll leave the settler here. And remember, we want to do that because those turns we put into the settler, we want to make sure that those stay on the board. And we can't, apparently, they don't work the same as buildings, right? Where you could place them and then remove them from your queue and buy them out at a reduced cost. You can't actually do that with units in Civ 7. At least that's what I'm experiencing now. So again, let me know in the comments if you understand it differently or if you've seen something happen differently in your game. But that will take us to the next turn button, and we will see how we can maneuver our way through our settler getting up here and our slinger and getting an army kind of built up here. And we have now met someone else. That is just in time because we just got to that 20 influence, which is going to be something we definitely want to have in order to get that good relationship start. Frederick Oblique. Again, we're going to go ahead and do a friendly greeting. It's underneath my head, but it costs us 20 influence, but that gets us +20 relationship. We'll reveal capitals if we're close enough to each other, as we've talked about before, but we really want to start off on the right foot. It's a big deal, especially as you go higher up in levels, and we're sitting off of deity. We're not on deity. We're on viceroy, I believe. So it's not a huge deal, probably. They're not going to get hyper aggressive with us, but at the deity level, unless you're like ready to fight, probably the friendly greeting is the way to go, right? And here we go. So now we know this is where Frederic is. So we have Himiko here, we have Frederic here, and it looks like he is sitting on coast. So that's a pretty narrow continent, so I'm betting that it has some sort of interesting spread to the south, right? We already know where the north of this continent is, so probably dips down south pretty far is going to be my assumption based off of that. And it does look like we haven't found anyone down here yet, so we have a lot of land potentially to use in this direction. And we've met a scout from Frederick over here, and so we kind of get a feel now for where we sit on our continent. There should be at least one other, I can't remember what the settings were initially for this game at this point, but there should be at least one more person on this continent. So we're going to hope that they're like way down here somewhere and not like right down here having us kind of boxed in. That would lead to us probably needing to be a little bit more aggressive on a war front than we might otherwise have been, right? So, all right, let's bring, we're going to bring this guy back. I don't love that this scout is sitting right in my way. So I guess we'll move along the coast here. Well, that'll get us like a little bit of view So we're going to start moving our warrior back towards our capital so that we can join up with the slinger and in 3 turns the commander, and then those 2 units, probably we need another slinger at least to go up and attack Gordium. We'll probably build out our army, make sure we have like a 4-unit army to go up there. But we'll talk about that when we get the commander and we get to see what the commander is all about. It's a pretty fun aspect of things. Now, another difference between Civilization 7 and Civilization 6, your settlers cannot be stolen. So we can send this settler out and not have to worry about it being taken by an aggressive Free Peoples or Independent Power or by another player. However, they can be attacked. They basically just function kind of like a scout in this game. Remember, scouts can defend themselves, but scouts cannot attack. Settlers are the same. They can defend themselves, but they cannot attack. And obviously, they're very weak at defending. So if they're getting attacked by a military unit, they're going to lose that fight. But they don't lose it immediately necessarily. It's not like a one and done kind of fight where, like in Civilization 6 and previous Civ games, you just take a settler. That doesn't happen. So that's kind of nice. We don't have to worry about like that protection angle. But we'd like to get up here. I'm assuming the fastest path is around here. And in fact, we don't really care what the fastest path is at this point. We do, but we don't want to go this way because we don't want to go anywhere near here and risk the life of our settler. So we're definitely going to move in this direction to start with. We'll come across the river and then up around this way and try to get to, I believe it's this spot that we want, because I think that gets us 1, 2, 3. It doesn't get us access to these. It does get us access to these sheep. It would get us access to these, and it would get us access. So I do think this is the spot. We don't need a ton of like coastal water necessarily for what we're trying to do, I don't feel like. So I feel like this spot would be pretty nice for us right here. Again, still puts us next to the navigable river and gets us a little bit of distance away to from Himiko's borders. So if we settled here, we're going to be bumping up against our borders right away. We lose a lot of potential workable tiles. And the same thing if we settle here, we're kind of cramming ourselves up in the top corner. I feel like this settle is going to be the best for us on this particular river. So, all right, here we go. A narrative event. Muddying the waters. A wiry senior brick maker keeps throwing his bricks into the fire, and his colleagues are beginning to whisper about him. But a supervisor notices that the bricks tossed in the fire seem to harden faster. So we can invest in a brick kiln and get 25 science, or we can continue making mud bricks and get 25 culture. Again, in the early game, culture is pretty dang valuable, and so I'd like to progress culture as quickly as we can. That's something to think about, though, is we are trying to take a shot at pyramids, and we're coming up on being able to do that relatively soon. And so if we were to take the science here, we could get to pyramids a little bit faster. And actually, I think that's probably what I'm going to do. I think normally I would take the culture here because culture is very, very powerful. But I feel like because we're specifically making a wonder play, I think that we'll go ahead and invest in a brick kiln to try to cut back on when we can start building pyramids. I think that's probably a smart idea on our part. So normally, probably taking the culture here. Specifically in our instance, I think let's take the science this time just to try to push in the direction of pyramids faster. So we're at 7 turns right now. We'll see how much 25 science does for us. I mean, that's a turn and a half, or sorry, 2.5 turns almost of science, right? So that goes from 7 to 4 turns. So we're just cut 3 turns off our research. So we'll be able to start building, potentially, pyramids 3 turns faster, which is a pretty big deal when you think about wonder build times and trying to get wonders out on a timely fashion. So I like the idea of that. Now, this guy who's been wasting a lot of our time and turns, kind of dinking around this thing, I'm just gonna let this sit. I'm gonna leave. We're gonna leave. We're gonna walk out. We're gonna try to get out over here, and we'll just come back for this at some point and hope that the AI doesn't go grab it. I just don't think it's worth it to hang around here until we get ship making, because we're not gonna get it in any like semblance of turns, right? We're progressing in other directions. We're about to go down that path, but we're gonna end up wasting this scout's time. Which is kind of painful in my opinion. So, okay, we do not have any other, yeah, it doesn't look like it. We don't have any other discoveries that we are currently going after. We can't actually see any, right? This is the only one that is on our screen currently. We don't have anything else that we can see. So what we probably want to do here is we want to explore in this direction. I want to see this coast. So I think what we're going to do is kind of swing around and then come back through this way over to the coast. I think that puts us away from where some of the other scouts we've seen are. So I do want to go with we're going to go with a 1 move, and that reveals a hostile independent power again. And then we're going to go with the search feature. And we see over there, of course it's over there. Oh, and right in between. To get to that, we essentially have to fight our way or maneuver our way around this. We might do it though. These guys look like they're pretty intent on attacking up here. So we might scoot our guy around and maybe take a play at that. We'll see what we see on our way down here. That's unfortunate. I was hoping to see one over here probably, but that's fine. We can make that happen. Okay, we'll have to see what happens there. All right, we go to the next turn. Himiko and Frederic are neutral with us currently. This guy is ready to go. Let's see what we see if we go up here. I might pop up right here and do a search just to like explore this on the next turn. Might as well free up some of that. Then we'll keep this guy moving. We have to get on the river and then we'll switch off river and come around here, hopefully. I don't know if this is lake or not. It kind of looks like it might be. Could be. Kind of get to see the edge over here a little bit where you can see it might look kind of on the edge of a lake. So this might actually be a lake tile as well, which would be interesting because that's a decent sized lake in that case. We'll see how that goes. This guy is, oh man, this scout is causing me problems. It's costing me movement. Okay. So I think we'll do a 2-move out to here. This slinger is like looking pretty aggressive. We're trying to get our guy out. I guess we make a play for this. I think we swing around and we make a play at this discovery. I mean, they're so powerful. We want to try to get as many as possible. I really want to get out here and get some exploration done where we might be kind of moving our settles in the future, but we got to go after discoveries with those scouts. And so that's what we'll continue to do. We got 1 turn left on this slinger, 3 turns left on masonry, and 2 left on discipline. So we have to pick a Napoleon as a, oh, we just met, oh boy. Okay. Well, now we have a potential situation. Napoleon is hyper aggressive and loves to go to war with people. And so now if Napoleon is to our south and we again just have enough influence to do a friendly greeting, that could be very problematic for us if good old Napoleon is our border. So let's see. Napoleon's kit basically encourages him to be hostile with everyone. And when the AI goes hostile with you, it's only a matter of time before war is declared. So looks like Napoleon is playing as the Mayans, it looks like. We'll offer a friendly greeting. And we'll see if we can see his capital. Let's find out if we can see his capital. He may not have accepted our greeting either, right? That's the other thing, is he may have not done the friendly greeting. So we do not know where he is, but he has a Jaguar Slayer that is coming from the south up. Now it took him 24 turns to get here, but who knows like where-ish he's gone to get to this point. That is concerning to me. So I think it would be really nice to get rid of Gordium as fast as possible so that we can bring our troops back down here just in case Napoleon decides that he wants to potentially become problematic for us. That's gonna be possibly a situation. I've had Napoleon in a previous game that I played at the DD level actually, and he was amazingly aggressive. I think Frederic and Himiko are not necessarily like hyper aggressive. Frederic definitely has a military bend, but Himiko does not, and so I think we've got a nice ally at least to our north. Hopefully we keep that relationship good. We got to watch out for Napoleon though. We're gonna get a really quick suzerain on Moreau, but we already got the gift, and so it doesn't double, so it's not quite as powerful an event as I had initially thought. But we did get that gift of gold earlier, so we don't get it currently because we already have it. I mean, we'll take it earlier, right? We spent it on a settler and are able to get that settler up and out. So something to know though about that event in that regard. Let's burn the search. Be good. And there. Oh my gosh, there's a spot out here. Now, do we have open borders with Himiko still? And how long do we have open borders for? 6 turns. Okay, so we need to bust it to try to get through Himiko's territory to get to the other side and see if we can't grab this discovery. Okay, interesting. We have 6 turns. I think we get to move pretty decently. I think we'll be able to get there for sure. Now you can see Himiko already has an army commander and a warrior station. So Himiko already has research discipline. And if you check the stats, you can see, yeah, she has 27.8 culture per turn. And that is a civic. So that's on the culture side of the tree. And so we're definitely, Himiko is cruising as far as culture is concerned, right? So just something to keep an eye on those numbers. We're playing at Viceroy, so they do start with an advantage. The AI does start with an advantage on us, but our numbers are kind of low right now, right? So we're still playing the catch-up mechanic from that. All right, here is this guy. We're gonna move here, getting our settler in place. Kind of know Koki's right there, so I don't know if there's a second settle. They haven't done it in this direction. If we get this down before Himiko gets something else out, I think that's gonna be obviously what we were trying to do. All right, so we know this is again, oh, this is Tyre, right? We have Tyre and Taruga both down here somewhere that we probably want to invest in. But the nice thing is they're both friendly. I'm just gonna assume that Napoleon is not super friendly. So what we're gonna do is just station the slinger here for now, just to give a show of force. We'll go ahead and jump off river, and we're going to maneuver back around here. We'll be close to being back by the time our commander is done. And we want one more unit before we go up against Gordium anyway, so we'll do that. Our gold is going up. We're going to start saving that gold probably, because I think we definitely want to. We want to be able to buy a military unit if, for example, we're up here fighting, and then Napoleon's like, "Oh, cool. I want to fight," then we need to be able to possibly fortify into that. So we probably build up our gold banks a little bit here. We are switched back to this settler, which I'm not opposed to, but I do think that we probably want a second slinger at this point. So I'm going to go ahead and queue up another slinger. I'll probably want another warrior as well. I think I want a full complement army to go up to Gordium and go make sure we get that conquering done so that we eliminate any threat to this area. And then we'll come back down and make sure we're defending our southern border here as well. But I think we have to military up at this point. It would be really nice to have gotten in the soppit probably for that +3 production before we started doing all these things. But I don't think it's going to be viable for us to do that. Would have helped us with our pyramids build too. We'll have to see how long it's going to take us to build the pyramids when we get there. That might kind of change our mind about some things. I'm just going to swing around as hard as I can over here. See what we see. All right, next turn, we maneuver along.
Which is of no use.
There is discipline, which gets us our first army commander. Also gets us access to a couple of new policies if we want. We get a free army commander, and we have the ability to build another wonder. So we'll take a look at our army commander. So army commanders are a wonderful addition to Civilization 7. This is one of the probably, I would think, more popular changes that they've made. Army commanders basically are where you can house your armies. So you can stack your armies. You can see here, you start with 4 slots for units. You can unlock more. You could put your units into an army commander. That army commander has increased mobilities. You can move your armies around faster. You can actually, later in the game, you can reinforce into those army commanders. So you can have a troop that you build out of a city, have an army commander that's maybe fighting on the front line somewhere out in a war, and you can tell that unit to reinforce to a commander. And it takes a set number of turns, but they don't actually even walk across the map. They just kind of go into transport mode, basically, and then a few turns later, however that distance is calculated, they will pop up in that army and be there in that space. So really cool features that you can have. You also have a whole promotion tree, and we'll get into that when we see some of the promotions. But the army commanders act as boosts, so the units around them get boosted, kind of like a great general did in Civilization 6. And there's a whole bunch of other cool things that you can do with them as far as deploying troops out of them and different things like that. So we'll talk about all of those things as we kind of get to that point in the game. And we're going to get to that point relatively quickly as we continue to maneuver our armies here. So conveniently, this warrior is going to be able to join with these 2 slingers. And I think that's going to be enough to be able to go and take Gordium. So we'll probably take the army commander, the warrior, and the 2 slingers. We'll probably go try to fight Gordium with just that. We'll probably train another warrior. I like to go 2 warriors, 2 slingers to kind of open the game as far as an army is concerned. I think some people will argue for selling out on one or the other, maybe like 3 warriors, 1 slinger, or 3 slingers, 1 warrior, just depending on what your preference is as far as ranged versus melee. Ranged in this game tends to be pretty dang powerful. the slingers do have a double range instead of a single range like in Civilization 6 where they can only shoot one. You can actually shoot the two with slingers, making them a much more viable ranged unit. So things to think about possibly when you're building up your first army in the game. The Shahel Dawn. Amina's people gather behind her, ready to organize under her command. Their will is strong, but by what means will they conquer the world? And so now we get our first narrative choice that leads to a quest. And yes, you do get quests throughout the game. Not many of them, but you do get quests that kind of drive your gameplay in just a little bit of a way. So we have three options here. We can conquer with our blades, and we get a quest to get a commander that has 2 promotions. There's then a reward. We get 2 promotions. It will give us a 3rd promotion for free, which is pretty dang nice, right? This one is train a merchant. If we train a merchant, we will get 200 gold for training a merchant. That is pretty potent. Or we can take their mines. Our mines will be what we conquer the world with, and we don't have to do a quest. This is just like right off the bat. We get +1 culture in all settlements. Now, I have a very intriguing question that I don't have the answer to, so someone maybe in the comments could let me know. This says +1 culture in all settlements. Well, currently I only have 1 settlement. Now, +1 culture in that settlement is not a bad thing, because that's, +1 over the course of the rest of the game. Does this apply to every settlement that I then settle after this? If that's the case, I really like this one. If not, I would take the 200 gold. The 200 gold sounds nice. I have to wait till I build a merchant, which is not for a little bit, but that little influx of 200 gold would be a really big deal. However, if I get +1 culture in all settlements from now until the end of the game, every settlement I have gets an automatic +1 culture. Probably end up by the end of this age, we'll probably end up with what, about eight settlements or something like that. Like that's 8 culture per turn. Like that's not bad at all. If by the end of the game, you might end up with like 18, 19, 20 settlements. And so that would be 18, 19, 20 culture. And late in the game, that number like 20 is not going to be like amazing. So I think my decision process here is right now, 200 gold when we're only making 10 per turn is a really nice boost. I mean, we could buy a settler with that. And I think that when we get to that point, we might want to do something like that. So I think I'm going to do the coin. We're playing Amina. We're playing as the Axumites. They're very gold oriented. I think we're going to go with the merchant. That 200 gold is too hard to pass up. I think this is probably pretty good, but I'm going to go with the quest. We're going to try to train a merchant. I get that 200 gold. We don't have the ability to train a merchant yet, to my knowledge. That's in the tree. We have to research that yet, but definitely something that we could potentially do. All right, we got diplomatic action. This is probably Napoleon trying to do something nefarious. No, it's not. Excellent. Himiko is re-upping our culture exchange. We don't have enough to support this. We're going to go ahead and accept. We'll take that +2. That's fine. That feels good. So she's busy like submitting endeavors to us, so she's spending her influence on endeavors, whereas we're spending our influence and saving it up to invest in the independent powers to try to get those city states become city states, which then lead to those suzerain bonuses. So hopefully some of the other AI are doing that as well, because we're kind of going up pretty slow. The Himiko and Frederic are getting 12 per turn on influence. We're getting 10, so we're not that far behind in that, but all right, we got to choose our civic, because we did get access to discipline. So we don't have discipline and mysticism unlocked, right? We went mysticism first for the Pantheon. We went discipline second to get access to that army commander. And now we want to decide where we want to go next. Code of Laws is the next obvious choice. Petra is going to be big for us if we can get Petra built. We also would not mind access to that merchant now, right? That merchant gets us that 200 gold bonus that we might be looking for. So that's something to think about. You could also think about going after the Gate of All Nations. The Gate of All Nations is a very, very powerful early game wonder. And so that's something that you could think about. You also get the social policy card there, that first one that's called Honor, +3 combat strength against independent powers. We are about to go fight an independent power. So this mastery level, so after you research discipline, you could research the discipline mastery on the tech tree. It does have a couple things that are really nice. You could also obviously go to this one, which is not, again, not bad for us because that +2 food in all settlements gets us, that card would get us a nice boon to growth, which is not bad. But I really think that Code of Laws as quickly as possible is probably a good option for us. We could always detour to this if we feel the need to for some reason. But I'd like to hard sell on Code of Laws, get that merchant, and get access to Petra as quickly as we can. I might change my tune if like Napoleon decides to declare war, and then maybe we forgo Petra and we go after Gate of All Nations because it gets you +2 war support, which basically equates to your units being better than their units in a war, which is a really big deal. So that's something we might think about as we're kind of headed in that direction. Okay, so we need to cut through Himiko's territory. We can't get in the water, so we don't want to go here. So we need to cut through Himiko's territory this way. Oh man, we gotta go all the way around. Okay, we still have 4 or 5 turns left on that, so I think we'll be able to do that. Okay, we're gonna continue sneaking up this way. We gotta go this direction. That's rough terrain, so it'll stop our movement, right? Remember, if you're a scout, rough terrain doesn't stop your movement, but every other unit, rivers, rough terrain will stop your movement. Scouts, rivers stop your movement as well, right? All right, we've got our army commander. We're just gonna have the army commander kind of sit for a little bit. Waiting at least 2 turns, right, to get all of our units together. This guy can cut around the mountains and head straight for that. Okay, this is a scout from Shamrock. Okay, so there's another hostile independent power down here as well. And keep in mind, just because an independent power is hostile to me does not mean that independent power is hostile to everybody. Independent powers have their own responses to each different player in the game. So just because they're hostile to me, they could be friendly with one of the other AI players, and the same is true in multiplayer games as well. So just keep that in mind. It doesn't mean that they're just hostile, period. It just means they're hostile to you, which is, I think, a really nice, that's a nice addition, right? In Civ 6, prior, barbarian camps are just hostile to everybody, right? And so now they've kind of replaced barbarians with independent powers. I love the dynamic. The dynamic is the fact that like there's not these automatic city states that are building up. They have to be invested in and they become city states. So something that one of those things that I think they did well. All right. Next.
He was the first to construct a wall 80 miles in length, which was to separate the barbarians from the Romans.
Speaking of barbarians, we have unlocked masonry, so we can build walls now. I don't build a lot of walls, but I don't think that's a surprise to anybody who's watching any of my series. We have access to the monument, which is definitely something we want to get in. Gets us culture and influence, which is really nice. We have access to the pyramids, and we got +1 production on mines and quarries. So that actually increases our production because we do have a mine right here. We're about to have a mine right here in, well, 10 turns. We're growing kind of slow, to be honest. I feel like we need to push. We probably need to get out some more food. Our food is not causing our growth to be super, super high right now, which is a little bit concerning. So just something to think about. We cannot build. I want this slinger, right? So we're gonna lose one of those turns that we gained by choosing the science, because I'm gonna keep the slinger. I'm gonna keep the slinger in. Let's see how many turns it takes to build the pyramids. Okay, so we're at 23 turn build on pyramids. That's a long time, but I really think it's worth taking a shot at that. My line of thinking might be, so we're gonna finish the slinger, and then maybe we need to get the saw pit in before maybe that +3 production would be a really big deal for us. It's gonna be a lot of turns not producing anything, so we're gonna have to make sure that our army is doing its work. We're gonna have a settler that oh no! Oh, our plans have been ruined. Himiko has settled exactly where we did not want Himiko to settle. And now we've been foiled. We have to recuperate our losses now. That's the settle that we did not want. We wanted her to go in any direction other than that would have been fine. She's taken our we can't settle this river now. And that was a nice river to settle. That she didn't even settle in the spot that we would have wanted it in. So even if we were to decide to go to war and take this city, which we might, depending on how our relationship with Napoleon ends up fleshing out, maybe it just becomes a thing where we can we could just go take this. It's close to where we wanted it to be. Unfortunately, now what's happened is we have a settler that's out in no man's land. So let's go. We'll go settle this over here because that's another river that we wanted. But that one's painful. That is painful. Oh, man. Frederick would like to share in military aid. Look, I'll take the gold. Thank you. I will take the gold. Another thing I believe that just happened, because Himiko settled close to me, I think we may have gotten a nice little boon. Yeah. So Himiko created a diplomatic incident. I really like this part of the game as well. So Himiko settled too close to our capital because she forward settled us. And you can see it's a pretty decent distance even that you trigger this. So Himiko forward settled us, and that actually gave us 60 influence. So it probably, if we look here, it will show, right? Settled too close to another civilization's capital. We have a -20 relationship with Himiko now. She instigated that, right? She settled too close to us. And so our relationship with her got hurt because she settled that. But we did get a nice boon to our influence. So we'll be able to invest in a city-state a little bit sooner than we might have otherwise. But that one hurts. We even bought this out. I think we bought it out as quickly as we could have. We might have been able to get it out like a turn earlier. But I honestly, this is what, 1, 2, 3. We're at least 3 turns away from getting to where we wanted to go. And there's no way we could have gotten the settler out 3 turns sooner. I just don't think it's possible. So, oh, it's unfortunate. That hurts my soul a little bit. When you make all those plans and you're set on doing it, that's fine. We'll change course. Such is life when you're playing Forex strategy games. Whether we go to war with her or not will be to be seen. Okay, let's go to our tech tree. We've gotten masonry up here, which has been very nice. Now we can go to shipbuilding, get access to the water, which is not a bad idea. Also gets us access to our fishing key, which is not bad. Writing is pretty nice because it gets you access to your library. And then we could also go down to this mastery. It's a 10-turn mastery on masonry. Gets us +3 combat strength for fortified districts, which we don't typically need right now, but it does get us +1 production on production buildings. We do have at minimum 1 production building, right? We've got our mine, whatever that mining pit or whatever in. So we'd get +1 production out of that. It's not a lot of production necessarily, but I think we probably have to pass on that and go ahead and progress into sailing. Irrigation is also really nice. Gets you a settlement limit, access to hanging gardens. Hanging gardens would be probably outside of pyramids and Petra, would be maybe even the best possible wonder for us. We could actually go that direction now, but again, we don't have a city to be able to build it in, so it's not really, we can't like rush hanging gardens because where are we going to build it? We're going to be building pyramids and then Petra right away, right? So hanging gardens might be something we try in like our second city, which is now delayed because we couldn't get to where we wanted to go. So I'm just going to click on sailing. Oh, it's a painful one. It was a painful one. All right, we got to keep going all the way around. Gonna swing this way. Try to get out of Himiko's territory. Try to go claim a few of these discoveries to try to get us back on track here. All right, we can hang out for one more turn. Go ahead and move this guy over. And let's see. Oh, and there it goes. Now this discovery's gone. So now our little swing over in this direction is now not worth it. Wow, what a bad turn. What an unfortunate turn of events on this particular. You know, I'm just gonna swing back. I'm literally gonna go back and we need to try to figure out what's going on over here. I feel like it's gonna be more important to do that than anything else. Again, there was a discovery here, so there might be more discoveries out this way. I doubt there are any over here, but we're kind of running into that spot where how many discoveries are really going to be there? Who knows anymore? So we'll just kind of play that by ear as we go. All right. Uh-oh, and here they come. Perfect. So right as we get our army together, Gordium has decided to send a unit towards us. So now we get the opportunity to demonstrate some of our military force. My assumption is that they're going to try to cross through here probably. But I like the idea of this warrior getting into a defensive position on this side of the river feels like a really good idea. So I'm going to move the warrior this way. I don't want the warrior in the water. And then I think what we'll do is we'll position a slinger over here. And we'll move the army commander in that direction as well. And then we will take this slinger and move them. We could put them in the water here. I think they'd be fine for a turn. So I'm going to go into the water. It's risky because you take heavy damage when you're on the water. But we're going to go into the water. And then we should be in position to be able to do a little bit of damage over here. Now, the commander we might end up putting in the water at some point just to make sure we get the right radius and things like that. But we'll set ourselves up for this, and then this will result in us just pushing up immediately. So remember, we have a settler in our queue, so we have to go back here and we need to change out of that if we want to. So we can spend 4 turns putting in this saw pit. Maybe getting the saw pit down for that +3 is the best move, because that +3 is going to drop the turns down on pyramids by quite a bit. You know what? I think I'm convinced. I'm going to go saw pit. We're going to put it right on top of our brickyard. Just because that will finish off our thing, and then we'll move that up in the queue. So 4 turns on the saw pit. That's to get +3 production. 12 to 15 feels like a pretty good boon. And we were at what, 23 turns? We were at 23 turns on pyramids. So we'll see what that 3 production does for us. 3 production per turn more. Hopefully that decreases it by... Hopefully it decreases it by more than 4 turns, I guess, right? I mean, we're spending the 4 turns to build it. So if it decreases it by more than the 4 turns, we could run the math on that now, but I'm not going to. But that's definitely something that you could do, right? Okay, we had a big flood way down there. Somehow we heard about it. All right, moving as fast as we can to try to get out of Himiko's lands. Himiko does not have a large army, which is not particularly surprising. And this settler, oh man, can we make this move? This is rough and this is rough. So technically I can move the settler as long as they don't have another unit. This is a risky move. It's also, it gets greedy because I want to get out here as fast as I can. Basically, we're going to try to cut our settler in behind this unit while our army fights them. Okay, no units there. This guy, I think we'll do we're going to step this way and we'll do one of these. No other discoveries. And let's go see what happens up here. Next turn. And he's going to move towards our settler. So now our settler is in a potentially bad position. And can we get into attacking position here is the real question. We're going to slide our warrior up. We won't be able to attack. Can we attack? We can't attack from the ground, but we can push this guy all the way up behind him. That's not a bad play either. We're just gonna go for a surround on this unit and hope that Gordium doesn't have too many other units. And honestly, I'm gonna move these guys into the water. I think I'll move both of them into the water. None of this is probably optimized, but our settler's going to take 1 attack, right? So our settler will get attacked. And if they have another unit here, then we might save scum. Because I'm going to move. I'm going to scoot our guy this way. Okay, there's not another unit there. If there's a unit here, though, they can attack straight down. So our assumption is that their warrior is going to attack our settler. Our settler's going to keep trying to move across the map to get to their settle spot. Because, again, I don't want to waste time before we get a settle down. And then we're just going to close on this unit, attack it, and then move our way up to Gordium and try to get that taken care of. Hey, friendly with Frederick. We like that. Okay, we're at 105 influence, 126 gold, so we actually could buy another military unit if we need to. We'll hold on that for now. So let's move out over here. Oh, there's another lovely river right here. Cahokia is not settled on a river. Look at this spot. Oh, it is. There's a navigable river right here. Oh, Himiko. Uh-oh. Chat. Are we gonna... everything here screams that we should go to war with Himiko. Like, we should take and hold Chickasaw and Cahokia. They both sit on navigable rivers. Oh, that's unfortunate for her because I'm pretty sure that will drive us to war. Those are perfect settle spots for us, especially if we go Songhai. That might mean we really desperately need a good relationship with Napoleon because I think we might just have to, we may just have to go to war with Himiko. It's pointing in that direction currently. Oh boy, all right, I think we're gonna cut straight across here. I just want to start freeing up all this land. All right, let's see. Let's see what happens to our settler. If the settler dies, honestly, I'll probably just save scum. I think that's just part of playing a 4X game. We're playing greedy right now. We probably should have just sat them or backed them off and then waited, but we didn't, so we'll find out what happens. They didn't attack it. Fascinating. Okay, well, so that means our settler... Oh, I don't think I want to go that way. No. So the settler will scoot this way on top of our unit. Oh, unless we could just kill this guy outright. We might be able to just kill this guy outright. Hold on. Slinger, what could... I think we might be able to. Then we do this, then we do this. Yeah, that should be fine. Okay. So we get the kill. Our commander was in radius, right? So our commander got experience for all of those. There's the experience that we're collecting. That experience is how you get the levels on their promotion tree. And so we like all of that. Now, the only problem is, of course, is that we can't get this slinger. Oh, we can get the slinger out over here. Perfect. All right, so we'll get the slinger out and we'll move our commander up here. And then we're kind of set and ready. We probably want to heal up really quick. This guy's still sitting in our territory, which is really handy. So we'll probably just heal that guy up really quick before we move up on Gordium. And then our settler can make our way across and get our settle in. We have to figure out where we're settling over here. So we'll have to do... Maybe we'll send this slinger out to do a little exploration, potentially. Can we attack with this guy? No, he ran it. Okay. All right. Here's an aggressive from Shamron, so we don't love that. I think we'll just make... Man, he can still get attacked if we move here, though. So I think we go all the way up. We'll go all the way up and then start cutting across. Or to avoid entanglements there. And then we're trying to head up here, right? So, oh, literally another hostile independent power standing on top of the Discovery. This whole episode has just been one pain after another. All right, let's see if Gordium's going to send some more troops down. Uh-oh, lots of things just happened. What is these things? Open Borders has completed, so that should have... Oh, well, that... this scout is a dead man. This scout's last action might be just to grab this. So the scout got booted into all of these. Now we could... No, I would have to pay Himiko for Open Borders. So we could save this scout if we paid Himiko for Open Borders again and then backed up. But that does actually, no, it doesn't even guarantee. No, she's still, the scout is still going to be within slinger distance. The scout still dies. So this scout's last action, unfortunately, is just going to be grabbing this Discovery. And then they're all going to turn on him and attack him. I'm relatively certain this scout dies even if I back him off. And so I'm just going to take the Discovery. It sucks, but I think that's probably the best course of action. A calamity has swept through, leaving wood, clay, splintered, charred, and broken. Some have escaped, others were not so lucky. We can comb through the detritus for valuables, plus 30 science and plus 10 production on Axum. That is not bad at all. Or we can get 45 influence. 45 influence is 4.5 turns of influence. 30 science is 3 turns of science, but 10 production to Axum is... That finishes the saw pit instantly, and then we would have leftover production. Ooh, that would get put into the settler. Okay, so here's what we want to do. Here is what we want to do. We're going to do this smart, because I think we're going to... That 45 influence sounds really nice, but I'm going to go ahead and try to get pyramids done. So, not done, but we're going to try to make a play on it. So we'll take pyramids. We'll place pyramids where we want to place it. We will move pyramids up in the queue above the settler. And then when we get the 10 production, which is an entire turn's worth of production, it will finish the saw pit, but there will be extra production off of that will then get put into pyramids, not into the settler. So I think that's our play. So we got that all queued up and ready to go. And then we'll go back to our narrative event and we will take the science and the production. This 45 influence is probably the value is that the 45 influence is better. But I think that right now, again, making a push for a wonder, that's going to really enhance our capital city in a really ridiculous way when we get it expanded out. I think that this is going to be worth it trying to get that wonder in. So we'll take the science and the production. We're going to leave 45 influence on the table, which is a little painful for me to say, but I think we're going to do it. And hopefully this gets pyramids off and running, right? Okay, so we take that. We'll go back and... Oh, it didn't even finish the saw pit. Interesting. Okay, either way, it's getting us 10 production closer to pyramids, right? I thought for sure it was going to finish it. I didn't look at the numbers, obviously, but there we go. Okay, so we have no more open borders with Himiko. Napoleon has changed his relationship with us, so let's check and see what that looks like. Ah, first meet plus 20 and leader agenda. Okay, so far so good. So far so good with Napoleon. So we like that. That's probably fine. Friendly to neutral though with Frederick. So something, his leader agenda, he didn't appreciate that very much. And we can actually check his leader agenda if we go here. Likes the civilization with the greatest number of military units, dislikes the one with the smallest number of military units. Okay, so we have very few military, and so he is choosing to dislike us in some way, shape, or form. All right. My scout was attacked by Long Cheng. Yes, and he is now basically sentenced to die, which is sad. All right. Napoleon is inviting us to a local festival rather than the happiness, which actually would be really valuable at this point. We'll take some more influence, so we're gonna go ahead and accept. We're not gonna pay for that though. Hopefully that continues to keep Napoleon at peace. We have another diplomatic action as well, and it's the same one. Himiko's also offering us the same thing, so I'm gonna go ahead and accept to get that extra influence. It turns out not taking that influence is gonna pay off because we're getting more influence through these. Could use more happiness to get to another celebration, right? But for now, we'll do this guy. This warrior we need to heal, so we're just gonna have them heal. And we're gonna go ahead and do the slinger. So one thing to note, your commander, if you click on the commander here, they have an ability called Focus Fire right here. Focus Fire orders all ranged units within the commander's radius. So right now you can see the radius around the commander. It's just one tile around. And they will all shoot simultaneously, and they get +2 combat strength for their attack. Now, what happens is all of that counts as one attack. So if your primary objective is just to get rid of units and do damage, this is a great thing to do. If your primary objective is to maximize the amount of experience that your commander is getting, you actually don't want to use this because this ability counts as one attack. Whereas if I attack separately with my slinger, so if I take my first slinger and I attack the scout, you will notice I get the +3. And if I take the second one and attack this scout, I will also then get the +3. It will pop up here in a second. Where is it? Where is it? There it is. There's the +3. And so we actually doubled our experience level by not using that. Now the scout's still alive, so that's the detriment, right? All right, let's check out the tree. Here we go. This button right here is the promotion tree. So we'll open up our promotions. We got 1 promotion from that experience. You can see how much experience we have to get to the second promotion. We need 30. We have 3 already. And you have a whole bunch of different stuff to take a look at here. So Bastion is more defensive oriented, Assault is assault oriented, Logistics will get you more access to different things like gold for units packed, Maneuver gets you more maneuverability, Leadership gets you more if you're just going to station your commanders in a city. This one's good for you. If you finish one of these trees all the way to the bottom, that unlocks a commendation point, and you can get special bonuses like this far one, +5 combat strength for all land units within the commander's radius. Pretty potent. So there are a few kind of metas as far as what you want to go with here. This is really nice. +1 maneuverability is great. You can also get this, which one is this one right here, which is +2 unit slots, which actually increases the amount of units you can actually have in the commander, which then increases the amount of units you can carry over from age to age, which is something we'll talk about later. Logistics is also nice here, that +1 gold for each unit packed. Right now we could pack 4 units, right? And so that's 4 gold per turn, which again, we're not making that much gold, so it's not bad. However, traditionally speaking, this first one in the assault tree is called initiative. Units can move after unpacking from this commander. This is potent. It unlocks a whole host of things you can do with your armies and your commanders. So my suggestion is almost always go assault first. You might even jump into the tree here for +2 combat strength on ranged or +2 combat strength on infantry. You then probably want maneuver at some point for that movement speed. Also, the commander ignores terrain restrictions. Huge. So maneuver is usually a second one. And then oftentimes logistics, going down the logistics tree all the way here to regiments to get those 2 slots. Again, that's kind of I guess, meta, at least a meta that I've seen that people use a lot. If you're kind of going around about to kind of maximize commander promotions as far as your first like 4 promotions might go. All right, we'll confirm that so we can pack and move. And then we have already attacked with all of these, but our settler can continue moving. And I think it's safe. Oh, where do we want to put this guy? Are we putting him on this side? Oh man, where is this guy going? Right here actually would be a really nice place for this, because we still get access to the camels. It gives us access to, again, we want to make it a city, right? It gets us access to a district, and then we got 2 districts right here that are double adjacency to resources, and we got a really nice coastal one here. So I really think this is the spot. This right here is the spot where we want to settle. And that gets us access to maybe puts another like town up in here, possibly just off river here. We can find a spot like in this area, although it's going to be really tight with Chickasaw. But again, the borders of the town are not as important to me as much as like getting access to different resources. This spot also 1, 2, 3 gets us access to the J. Yeah, this is the spot right here. Okay, so let's take get our settler, and we want to get to. Oh, we can't settle there until we burn Gordium down. Oh, that's fine. So we got to get up to Gordium maybe faster than that. I do want this spot. This is the spot I want. So we have to burn Gordium down before we can even settle this, which is fine. It's fine. We can make it. We can make that work. We just have to get up there sooner rather than later. We're still going to take at least 1 rest turn for this guy, and then we'll come up hoping that they don't have many units left, right? Okay, we'll go ahead and just sit. This guy is getting chased by this unit, and I don't love that. We're going to keep moving away from him. Oh my gosh, such unlucky. Oh man. We're getting so unlucky in this episode. I guess we'll explore. Search, I guess. This guy is also, is this rough? It's flat plate. This guy's getting double attack. This guy might die as well. We might lose both of our scouts on the next turn. Ouch. Oh, man. All right, let's do one more. If we're gonna, we might as well get the pain out of the way, right? Yeah, there's one dead. Oh my gosh, and now he's surrounded. Now, these are all from different, oh my god. Okay, hold on. Here's this guy. This guy's from Shamron. This guy is from Savage, and this guy's from Savage. So 2 different hostile independent powers have ganged up on our scout. And our other scout was ganged up upon up here and died. So in the spell of 2 turns, both of our scouts are dead. And that's really problematic because we have to spend production turns or money to get more scouts out. And really painful. And I honestly, like, yeah, this one we got greedy on a little bit. We could have probably tried to move out. Like this one, I thought I was trying to maneuver away as best as I could. This is just unfortunate. Oh, this poor scout. I mean, there's nothing I could do. If I put him here, he's just going to die. He's stuck against the mountains. Look at this surround. A combination surround from 2 different hostile independent powers. I guess just in case they don't attack him, like we'll make the move, but there's really no point. Hey, but we get some good news at the end of our episode. Moreau has joined us as a suzerain. Yeah, look at this. Shamron attacked, Longcheng attacked, and Savage attacked. Wow, this guy got attacked twice. This guy only got attacked the 1 time and died. There's the scout. The scout died from the slingers. And we have another diplomatic action. All right. Frederick Oblique is inviting me to a research collaboration. I would love to accept this, but I actually probably am getting close to enough to being able to invest in another city-state, another free independent power. So we're just going to accept again and save. Problem is, I can't even see, like, where these guys are hostile. Where are all the friendly ones? All the friendly ones are down here somewhere, and I haven't gotten out there to find them. I probably need to use my gold just to buy a scout here. just to get down so we can invest. Like, to be honest, like that might be the reality. Oh, but good news. Good news. Only 18 turns. Only 18 turns to build pyramids. So we got it down from 23 to 18. So we did indeed save turns on pyramids. So that's good news. So we cut it back as much as we could, probably with by getting in our saw pit and our brickyard and stuff. We probably did the right thing. Now we see we've got some more warriors coming down, and that's, oh my gosh, right on top of our settler. Goodness me. Does it get any? I guess we just back off our settler. We just back our settler. We can't settle it anyway, right? No. Take that guy out. So we're just gonna have the slinger fortify. This guy's just gonna heal again, right? So it doesn't matter. Ugh. Oh my gosh. All right. When you suzerain a city-state, when an independent power becomes a city-state because you suzerain them, you get to choose which bonus you get from them. Each type of city-state has 5 different bonuses you could choose from. Each of these bonuses can only be chosen once. So whatever we choose here, that will not be available to anybody else that suzerains a merchant independent power, right? So when I choose gemstones, which is the one that I'll be choosing because it's the most powerful, when I choose gemstones, if somebody else suzerains another merchant independent power, they will not be able to choose gemstones. They will have to choose from one of these. So you have to keep in mind that there are powerful reasons to become a suzerain of a particular type of independent power first. Becoming the suzerain of a science one first is actually very, very powerful because you can actually choose a bonus where every suzerain after that gets you an extra technology unlocked, which is very, very powerful. So typically you want to try to suzerain a science independent power first so that you can then every subsequent suzerain, if you choose that particular bonus, you get an additional tech unlocked. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. Gemstones, however, is incredibly powerful. Lapis lazuli, which is the name of the gemstones that the resource that we get, +4 production and 5% gold wherever it is assigned. So we will be choosing that. And then the beauty of that is we will also be able to put that into our capital, and that is going to decrease our turns on pyramids as well because it's extra production. City of Gold. Gold is so abundant that it's practically an influential citizen in its own right. Buildings glitter with seductive gilding, and wealth whispers in private halls. We can conserve wealth for the wealthy. We get +50 gold right now, or we can make luxury a beacon to all. +1 production on lighthouse. I will tell you right now, the amount of times I've built lighthouses in this game, once. Lighthouses are only available in the Antiquity Age. They're pretty far down on the tree. Their bonuses are not that great. They take up a tile that you probably otherwise want to use for something else. So this sounds nice, but I'm just gonna take the gold. I'm not gonna probably build a lighthouse to take advantage of that, or any amount of lighthouses to take advantage of that. So this is kind of a meh, but 50 gold, well worth it. Take the 50 gold for now. That probably means that we should buy a scout. I'll probably debate that over the course of the rest of the time in between here. Okay. So let's quickly go to our resource allocation. You can see our lapis lazuli has automatically gone into our capital. That is our first assigned resource. We haven't actually even talked about this page yet. We'll talk about this page a lot more in the coming episodes, but we got our first resource. It was automatically assigned into our capital. That should, I don't think did it trigger? Wait, yeah, there it is. 14, so it says 18. That decreased our production time by 4 turns on pyramids. So we're now down to 14 turns on pyramids, which is pretty dang nice. So there we go, 14 turns on pyramids because of all of the different maneuverings we've done towards getting our production increased, including getting that resource lapis lazuli, which is great. So that is where we will leave it. 10 turns again. I guess that's my MO. Thank you all for tuning in to the episode. Plenty more Civilization 7 upcoming on the channel. We will continue this game in the next episode. If you like the content, hit that thumbs up button. Make sure that you're subscribed to the channel so you know when we release these videos. I will see you next week.